Hey guys. Hi. Okay, so this is a little bit different video that I'm doing today. I normally do my channeling videos or gratitude videos, but this one is more of a teaching video because over the last couple weeks I have learned a lot of stuff. So this video is outside of my normal scope and what I would do, but that's because I channel words from God. And over the last couple weeks, I have gotten quite a few very intense words that need to be brought to light. Okay. So the reason the title is President Trump and the False Prophets is because we're coming into a time right now where you're going to hear a whole bunch of crap. Dang. And it is false lies. It is deception. It is lies. It is basically everything is to create this fear and instability in you. Okay? Now, I'm going to teach you something to help you discern, to not just hear and think you know the truth, but to really feel and see the truth of what's really going on. Okay. And this is so important because we need to be able to see the truth. And I don't know what's going on with this country, but it's got to stop. I am not one to get political. I'm just saying I'm a spiritual mom of three. Okay. I love my spirituality and I try to stay out of politics as much as possible for the sheer fact that it's like I follow the God that lives in me. I love myself and I do what my intuition follows me to do. Okay. And that's how we should all be. However, it has come to this time where there's so much corruption in our country. There's so many lies going on out there, and it's just disgusting. And I'm telling you, I'm sick of it, and God is really sick of it. So I know this because he keeps speaking these words to me. And trust me, if I don't say it, it's like I have to go through not pain, but just not being true to myself causes me to have extreme reactions. Let's just say that energetically. And that's because I have to share my experience. Okay. So I want to give you a little bit of discernment so that you can know who are false and who you should no longer keep your associations with. So I want to talk about emotional abuse first. What I'm going to do is teach you what emotional abuse is. And the only way I've learned this is from God in my life, but also seeing how it has affected my own children when they were emotionally abused. Okay. And the one thing that really distinguishes emotional abuse is when you tell someone you're going to do something and you don't do that. Okay. So, for instance, if a father tells their kids, I'm going to call you tomorrow and does not do that, that causes emotional abuse. Why? Because it's untrustworthy, because you can no longer trust that word that is spoken to you. And it is a sacred thing. God says that that life and death is in the power of the tongue. And it is so true, because when you're saying to somebody, I'm going to do this, and you do the opposite, you've just lost all trust in your own word. people lose trust around you, and your children lose trust in you, and it hurts them. Okay. So if we know that that's emotional abuse, I want to bring up something that we all do to ourselves. And this is even more important because you tell yourself all the time that you're going to do something and then just don't do it. And see, we think that this is okay, like it's not a big deal. But here's what it does. When you say to yourself, I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow, and you don't go to the gym, you've just created distrust in your own self. And that creates all kind of havoc on your system. Sickness, illness, weight gain, disease, all of it. Okay. And then we kind of push it away like it's not a big deal. We're like, oh yeah, whatever, I'll go tomorrow or whatever. And then you don't do it again. And then you don't do it again. Okay. So this is severely hurting our systems. And I've been doing it to myself. The only way that God showed me how I was doing it was through my ex-boyfriend doing it to my kids, and me finally saying, that's not okay anymore. And then God was telling me, like, okay, so awesome, you've cut that off, but look at yourself. You're saying things to yourself that you are going to do and not doing it. So that's causing distrust in yourself. So what I want to talk about, and to connect this politically and how you can discern, is just this, okay? When you hear President Trump say something out of his mouth, not from the media, not from somebody else, not any third party about what he's doing or whatever. When you hear him say something, he does it. When he says, I'm going to build a wall, he builds a wall. That is trustworthy. Okay. Now, how you discern that is it has to be directly from that person. If you're hearing things from a third party that are basically speaking lies that you don't know to be truth yourself, that person is just trying to, basically, they're afraid of the other person. So they're trying to make themselves feel superior by talking bad about that person. So they're exalting themselves over someone by spreading lies. What is the media doing, you guys? Like, here's what I want to say about false prophets, okay? What is a prophet? All right. A prophet is someone who speaks about the experiences and the truth of God through their own experience. Okay. And they don't foretell the future, but they speak about what they have gone through to really help others see and discern truth. Okay. So when you have other people, the media that is going out there, what are they basically doing? They're saying all these negative, hateful lies about what's going on. And all they can really talk about is Trump and how he's horrible and he's lost and he's done all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. But discernment comes from, like I said, when President Trump says he's going to do something, he does it. That is trustworthy. Okay, so for instance, I'm going to take the governor of California because it's absolutely disgusting what's going on here. It really is gross. So let's take coronavirus. He is telling the people and all the businesses what they must adhere to as far as restrictions to keep them safe. So he's speaking all of these things that you must do, but then he's literally caught doing the complete opposite thing. That's untrustworthy. That's a liar. That's fraudulent. That's gross. And I'm just confused as to, like, these people are in power. They're leaders. They're supposed to be there to support the people. That's not okay. And one of the things that I have learned in my life is that when I notice people speaking one thing out of their mouth and doing another thing, listen, you guys, this isn't about right or wrong. It's about knowing the truth and about standing up and saying that's not okay anymore. The reason I believe that this country has really accepted all the people that are corrupt and liars and in all this stuff is because nobody says anything. Nobody holds them accountable. And it's just done. The time is done. We all know energetically who are spiritually, their time is done. We all know that. It's just a matter now of people who know their truth, standing up and speaking it. Okay? And that is why I am starting to speak on this, because it's like, I'm super passionate about it, because what you don't understand is it's hurting you. It's hurting your kids. Half the time I don't get involved in politics is just because of that. I'm like, whatever, it doesn't even affect me. I don't really care. But it does. Because if we allow people in power to have no integrity, to be dishonest, to allow them to be untrustworthy, that just filters down the line to us. And so basically we're accepting and agreeing with, because we're allowing it. Dishonesty, liars, untrustworthy. This has to stop. Because at this point, look what's really going on in the world. There is just chaos running rampant. Our minds are so confused by the lies and the distrust. Yay, good, exactly. I've had enough of the liars. Me too. Totally. So, yeah, the lies, but how you tell the liars is just by this. They're speaking out of their mouth one thing, but they're completely doing the opposite. Okay, so I'm going to say on Nancy Pelosi too, the Speaker of the House. How do we have a Speaker of the House that is a liar? It's incredible to me. But she's actually been caught in multiple lies. Let's just talk about the hairdressing incident, where they're speaking these things that we better do to keep us safe, but yet doing the complete opposite and having businesses secretly open just for her to get her hair done. What? It's gross. Why isn't she dethroned or off I don't care. If you are out of your integrity, if you're not trustworthy, you should never be in a place of power. It's gross, and it's got to stop in this country. And the only way that it does is for individuals to stand up and first to recognize it in ourselves first. Okay? Because this has been running rampant for too long. All right. Every time that I had to go through something very difficult on my spiritual journey over the last 4 years, which was the most difficult thing I've ever been through in my life. Okay. Whenever I've gone through something extremely hard, I have lost a lot of people in my family right now that I've had to say no to. And that is because you can't control other people, but they helped me to see something in myself that I needed to heal. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. If they choose to heal, that's on them. But I'm going to be so honest with you. So if we're standing up and saying, like, you know, these people are liars and blah, 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 especially pay attention to what you get angry by or what you're triggered by. Okay. If you're triggered by some of this stuff, then it usually means that there's something inside you that needs to heal, because there should be no personal offense whatsoever. People are getting so angry and fighting and protests. But it's like, the reason we take on personal offense is because of a trigger inside of us that really triggers a hurt, but we're covering it, we're masking it with anger. Okay? There's no reason to get angry. There's not. You need to heal something inside of yourself. And that's that. So, the way that we can stop this from running crazy like this is to recognize if we are telling lies in our lives. I mean, even little small white ones that are silly. The other day, I'm just going to say, like, my little 3-year-old, she's looking at me and she goes, "Mommy, what's in your mouth?" And I'm like, "Nothing." And she's like, "Why are you lying?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "What's in your mouth?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm totally lying. But why am I doing that? There's no reason for me to even do that." It's because it's like it's just ingrained in us. And she's asking me what's in my mouth, and I'm like, "Nothing." So to see the truth, you have to recognize it in yourself first. All right. So the reason that this is all connecting with me politically is because the things that are going on in our country that are so corrupt and so beyond words gross, that it is time to stand up and start speaking out truths. Okay. So for instance, and a lot of people are, I'm not even saying that. There are a lot of people that are standing up and speaking truths. But if you have anyone in your life that is, doing these types of things, make sure you tell them in a kind, honest way, this is not acceptable behavior, and I'm not putting up with it anymore. When we put boundaries and limits on it, it's almost like they have no choice but to start looking at it themselves. They can choose to blame, and that will do no good for them, but that's on them. All right. So I don't want to get too all into that, because I want to talk about the other aspect of it. And that is, what's going on with small businesses in this country. And I think it's really heartbreaking to see, because you've got the government. Okay. I believe coronavirus is real. It is a virus. It's an airborne virus, like the flu. It isn't the flu, but I said it's an airborne virus like the flu. And the government seems to think that they can control an airborne virus. People, it's killing me. It's a total oxymoron. You can't control something that is not controllable. And the way that they are now, so because they know they can't control the virus, so they're trying to control the people instead. Okay? They can't control the virus, so they're afraid. And what are they doing? They're trying to control the people by putting a mask on you, and they all know that that's not going to do anything. It is an airborne virus, period, plain and simple. We have a vaccine for the flu, and we have millions of people that still get the flu and die every single year. You guys, we have a vaccine for the flu. People still getting the flu like crazy. But the thing is the extreme controls that they are placing on small business is the most absurd thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And they are literally withering and dying. And I have seen some people standing up, but at the same time, it's like, you've got to stand up. It's just ridiculous. I don't mean fighting. I don't mean protesting. I don't mean anything like that. I mean, do your part. That's what I mean. There's no fighting. There's no protesting. We can't control what other people do. But in your life, you can do something. Okay? So say if you're a small business owner, there's this one guy on the news that I'm seriously like praying for, because you know what? He stood up and he said, I'm not closing my business. I'm still going to be serving diners outside. He said, it doesn't sit well with me to cut off my employees 3 weeks before Christmas, and they're not getting any unemployment. Good for you. I forget the name of the restaurant, but he put, the restaurant that Governor Newsom went to? It was hilarious. He literally put a sign on his restaurant sign that he was that restaurant, the French Laundry. He put that sign up. I think it's hilarious because it shows the hypocrisy, the fraud, and just how gross, you need to close your establishments, but we can still have our expensive dinner parties with high medical executives that weren't following any of the rules too. Hello? Does anyone see the hypocrisy here? What I'm saying is this. We all need to start standing for our own truth. We don't need to go fight or protest. But say, for instance, if you do have a small business, that what doesn't feel right inside of you, that you stand up for it. So that man is still serving outdoor dining so that he can pay his employees and so he doesn't lose his business. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks of you. Okay? But when you're standing for your truth, that will spread so fast that it is like wildfire. When people say, no, I'm not going to close my small business just because you're threatening me with a fine. No, absolutely not. I'm sorry. You guys can go to your fancy schmancy dinner parties and not follow the rules. However, these small businesses have been following the rules, and everyone is seriously hurting and suffering, and they're not giving any more economic aid. They don't really seem to be doing anything to help those people. They just shut them down again. Really? What is going on here, people? So what I'm saying is stand for your truth. Don't be afraid of a fine. Don't be afraid. They may threaten you to take your business license, but if the next business owner stays open and gets a fine, and the next one, are they going to threaten everyone to take everybody's business? No, because they're not going to do that. It's too absurd at this point. And they're constantly changing the rules. How can anyone even follow this stuff? It's beyond words. So the way you can spot these false prophets is by, if they're saying one thing, but their life and their actions don't match. The other thing I wanted to talk about is false teachers, because we have so many false teachers out there. These are people who are, I love Robert Kiyosaki because he speaks about this all the time. He talks about false teachers. But see, vibration's real and frequency is real, and you will absorb that vibration to which you are accepting into your life. That means you are going to absorb the illusion, the veil, the false, the lies, the jealousy, the envy, the pride, all of it. You will absorb it. Okay. So you really need to steer clear of these false teachers. Robert Kiyosaki. Okay. I love him. He says, that I went to go to college. I didn't want to go to college, but I went to go to college and I was learning about business. And he said he went to one of his teachers and the teacher was, or the professor was teaching business. And so Robert goes up to him and says, well, how many businesses do you own? And the professor says, none. And Robert's like, well, then what are you doing teaching business? That is a false teacher, okay? Anyone who is saying, like, trying to teach you something or sell you something, but they're not doing that in their life. It's like all these people with spirituality and trying to teach on relationships and things like this. I literally, okay, people saying that they want to help you have healthy relationships, but their life, they have no healthy relationships. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, so if you're doing this also, this is what I'm saying. All we can control is ourselves. Okay, so all we can control is ourselves. If you are doing this, recognize it. Don't get mad at me, but because that's only going to hurt yourself. But recognize it in yourself and change it. Okay? I teach people on shadow work for the sheer fact that for the last 4 years, I have done all of my own shadow work to get rid of the lies, the jealousy, the envy, the pride. Don't think I'm any different. I had it all in me too. The hiding. Oh, and the other thing I want to say, which is so important because I did this as well, is hiding is not speaking your truth is just as bad as lying. I did not realize that, but I was doing the same thing. And I was too afraid to speak out about my truth and about what I saw and knew was lies. And so I decided, you know what, I'd rather just not even get involved. That's what I did. But doing that is just as bad as lying, and you will fall under the same judgment that they will. No joke. So it's really important because the judgment is here. All the false stuff is here, but it's for you to stay out of that judgment is so important because, oh my gosh, listen, God disciplines the ones he loves, and it really hurts. It does not feel good. He disciplined me so many times in the last 4 years when I walked away from my true self, when I abandoned my true self to people please, to hide away from the truth, to when I was being a false teacher myself, when I was teaching on things that I didn't really have experience yet, I hadn't really overcame that yet. That's not okay, because what you're doing then is you're spreading the falseness. And it hurts to have to look at yourself. I know. I did it for 4 years and it really hurts. But when you clear that in yourself, you know what kept me going for 4 years? Every time I had to look at myself and see where I was out of alignment with my true self, meaning, where was I lying? Where was I holding pride? Where was I holding envy? Where was I seeking money instead of God? Where was I, which we could talk about politicians all day with exactly what we know is going on, right? Because, you guys, Biden is a puppet. I'm sorry, but he is. And it's just the guy can't even sit up there and talk. It's like he's trying to remember what he's supposed to say. It's like, what? I've never seen any president actually get things done other than Trump, which is funny because he's not even taking any money for his presidency. That's pretty incredible. And one of the things that I think is really admirable is that he literally isn't taking any money. He has spoke out the truth, which he's gotten a ton of crap for. And when he says he's going to do something, he does it. That, my friends, is a trustworthy person. Everything else that is floating out there is this deception, trying to get you to believe this false crap to hide what's really going on. And it has to do with these politicians that will just take money and sit there in a chair and vote for big business to have their way. It's just, it's not like American anymore. And free speech, when people are standing up and speaking their truth, they're silenced. That's crazy. Crazy. Okay. So what else do I need to speak about? So false prophets, false teachers. The discernment is just that, is when people say these things, are they actually standing by, are they doing what they're saying they're going to do? If they're not, that is the deception. That is the emotional abuse. And so many politicians are doing it. You're seeing them caught all the time where they're telling everybody else they have to do this, but then they're caught doing the complete opposite themselves. That is an untrustworthy, dishonest human being that shouldn't be in a place of power to control, and not control, but to be a leader for the people of their city, their state, the United States. It's done, and people know that it's going away, but you have to heal this stuff in yourself. And that's the most important part. So, like I said, it's not about going and trying to fight the system. No. What it is looking at yourself and bringing forward the lies, which is why I'm finally speaking out, because I've been hidden for the last 4 years because, see, that's how God works. I just want to tell you, and it's not fun. But 4 years ago, I'll do another video on this, but 4 years ago, I had a very traumatic event with a family member. And instead of speaking out the truth that I knew was truth because I could discern it, I hid and I decided to stay quiet. And God showed me that that is lying just as much as the other person was lying. So I was no different. Just because I wasn't speaking my truth, I was hiding, and that is still lying. And then you fall under the judgment of a liar. And it's like, whoa. So that's why I'm speaking out. It's so important. So whatever is going on in your life where you need to stand and say, listen, this is not okay with me. I'm not shutting down my small business right before Christmas. I'm sorry. Slap a fine on me, do whatever. When you stand in that truth, trust me when I say the protection of God surrounds you. And sometimes on the outside world, it looks like chaos after that. But trust me, it's like he just protects you through that chaos. And then you're like, oh my God, whoa, I'm happy again. I'm me again. I'm okay again. So I'm going to be doing a lot more videos like this, obviously, because I have to stand up and start speaking. Please share this. It's so important. It is so, so important. And I am not speaking about fighting, protesting, revolution, civil war. No. What I'm talking about is recognizing these things in yourself and standing in the truth. Purge yourself of any lies, get rid of any pride, get rid of any jealousy. Like, it's so important, because when we clear ourselves of these sins, really, then it's like it clears it from everyone else around us. So, that's why I'm speaking about this. And also because, like I said, it connects politically. And if we don't stand and speak about this, like I said, I never got involved in politics because I just was like, I don't want to get involved in that mess. But the thing is if I don't speak up about this, then I'm basically hiding from my truth and lying. So hiding or just not saying anything is still lying. Yeah, when God showed me that, I was like, uh-oh, I better start speaking. So I hope you guys have a great day. And yeah, I will bring some more, but just pay attention and stay away from those false teachers, the false prophets, because you don't want to absorb that energy and start behaving like that in your life. All right, you guys, have a great day. Bye.